Um, Preview, what do you mean? A portrait? No, I'm not. Thank you. Yes, sir. Fellow Ambazonians, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, wherever you find yourself. Today is a rare opportunity. I say it is rare because I am humbled to be at the center of this interview with the acting interim president of the Republic of Amazonia. I want to use this opportunity to thank the president for giving me such an opportunity. And I say it is a privilege and not a right that he comes down, he brings himself to that humble position to hear our problems, hear the cries, hear the issues we're facing and answer questions. And most of our doubts, he is here to answer them. Thank you very much, Mr. President. I want to thank also the team of the ABC and the ABC TV. And I also want to take this opportunity to wish condolence to Secretary Chris and to all Amazonians that have lost their lives. Before we introduce the president, I can't take that opportunity when I'm here with my boss to give a minute of silence to the fallen comrades. So. May the souls of the faithful departed rest in perfect peace. Your Excellency, fellow Amazonians, this interview will dwell in a number of issues: the state of the revolution, the stakes, the challenges, the relationship with the other liberation movements, diplomacy, self-defense, amongst others. We would be very cordial and respectful and we will go deep into some issues that are of concern to many Amazonians. Some may view some of the issues I will raise as hard, but they are not personal. They are not challenging, but they are simply to bring to the forefront these issues and get a few clarification from the interim president. Here present is the interim president, Dr. Samuel Sako, whom I respect so much. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Can you give us your opening statements?
Yeah, thank you, Comrade Sikod. You are a warrior. You are wonderful. You've been doing a great job on behalf of Amazonians for all that you have done and you are doing for Amazonia, especially from your having to do with your county. I want to exceptionally use this opportunity to congratulate you. And thank you for making, for me, it's also a privilege you're giving me on your platform and on ABC for me to touch base with my people, answer some critical questions, and inspire our people, and also express myself, especially my condolences to the many that we are losing, not even in battle, but because we are dealing with a very wicked adversary at this time. So thank you. I hope we'll have a good time. I hope we'll be able to address some questions, some answers to some questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, Your Excellency, many Amazonians fear. They fear that the revolution is failing. They fear because they see the number of deaths. They fear because they don't know the number of diplomatic gains that you have achieved during your administration. Many do not see the road to independence. We take you for your word, Mr. President. We respect you, and we know whatever you say, you mean it. Is there really any need to fear? In other words, is there reason to be hopeful?
Yeah, Comrade Sikod, I feel the pain because my own are being targeted and killed daily. I understand how painful it can be and how hopeless we get when it's just like we can't stop every killing that is going to happen in times of war. We are at war, and it is emergency time. I should also underline that there are two types of deaths that happen during wartime. You have those that are actively resisting die, and also those that are collateral deaths that will happen, either because the enemy is crazy, is desperate, and will go after innocent people and massacre them. What can you do in a situation like that? What strategy will you put in place to stop an enemy who finds an innocent civilian walking on the road and decide to kill him? What can you do to stop that? Also, there are those who die because of hunger, because they cannot access medical facilities, some because of wounds, some because of snake bites, and there are others that die for many reasons. These are collateral deaths. I tell you that at this time, what we are witnessing in a most significant manner is the increase in the collateral death, which are because of the deliberate actions of our enemy. These are war crimes. These are war crimes that are being committed right now. You can see for yourself. If it were just that we are being attacked and pound for pound, their soldiers and our resistance forces, then I would say that that's probably, if on our side the losses are increasing, it means we are losing. But this is just depravity. This is just wickedness. I don't know how to call it. When you go and kill innocent mothers and burn down houses and burn down our own in their houses, and tomorrow you ask me that they have just burned 7 again or 6 yesterday. How could you stop that? The international community has to come in on this and tell them that even at war, even during war, there is law. There is law. These are lawbreakers, and we have to make our case to the international community, and we have to highlight these atrocities so that the powers that be in the international sphere will call these people to order. And that's what we will do. Now, we are making a lot of diplomatic gains. And one thing with diplomacy is that you must have a seal lip. You must be able to have a seal lip. If your lips are not sealed, you cannot make it far in diplomacy. You cannot touch the quarters that can bring you help. You can't. Because the first law is, I don't want to see this out there. I don't want to see this anywhere. In fact, this year we met with a president of a nation. Everything, even the cell phones were taken away from us before we got in there. So that is how the law is. And so that we are dealing with a people who are really in pain, who are hurting, and who want answers. We are dealing with a situation where even the promise of tomorrow is too far. People want to know right now, right here. That is how desperate we have become because of what our people are going through, because we wake up in the morning, we see all the pain, we see all the blood shed, and we see the deaths, we count them. We see the villages that are being burnt and the houses and the desperation of those, their occupants and all the victims. So we want to know now, here and now, what's going on. But we are working. The one assurance I want to give us all is that virtually every shift you have witnessed on the media, virtually every change, every movement you have witnessed in the media is not an accident. It's the result of arduous work that has been done for months upon months. People walking on the ground. No, there are some months that we have held about 11 meetings with one particular government. So we are working, and it is never for the cameras. It's not even for a show like this. So, any need for fear? Oh, here's the thing. If we were suffering up to this time, and we are being killed as it is now, and there is no attention being paid to the problem, completely no attention, then we should be desperate. We should say there is no hope. But we can see hope written all over the place. When those that are supposed to talk start talking, that's hope. When the Security Council start taking on your issue, which they have never done for 57 years. Oh, somebody would say, let them just rise up and make a proclamation. Then we'll say they have done something. But this is to say that the world is now paying attention, and records are being taken. And those that are perpetrating evil are like Paul Biya and his junta. They now know that they will not do any of these things with impunity, that records are being kept. The eyes are on them. And so we don't have need for fear, because we are having more friends now than we had before. We have people who are ready to stick out their heads for us more than ever before. We have quarters that have never discussed our matter publicly, doing so now publicly. We have nations that gather in their numbers and make a declaration, a strong declaration. Even in diplomatic circles, it is called an ultimatum. When you tell somebody that you must go in for dialogue without negotiation now. That's an ultimatum. Because in diplomacy, you don't say all. Your choice of words will say the rest. Because when somebody says you should go in now, it means that you cannot really not do what he's saying, because he has the power to make you do it. But he will just say that should be done now. So there's a lot we cannot understand, because we have to understand the diplomatic language. No fears is that now are we better off than when we started the struggle? And there is no moment in our struggle from 57 years back that is better than this moment at this time.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I must confess, about 3 of my concerns and questions I had for you have been answered. Now, when I planned this interview, I said to myself, if I get one answer that diplomacy is paying off, and I hear that you have sat with a president of a nation, then it is going to add on my zeal and support of this interim government. So I must say, like an Ambazonian, I am well pleased, and I wish to ask you, what is the meaning of a leader of a nation or a diplomat saying openly that this matter is now an international matter? Before, it was referred to internal issue. Later on, it was a national issue, and today we are being referred to as we heard a Secretary of State saying that this issue is now an international issue and must be referred as such. Is that one of the nations that is standing strongly behind us at the present?
Well, I salute everyone that is responding to our concerns and our petitions. We have written, we have contacted we are not less than 50 nations. So, I mean, who know our problem, well presented. So, and we want to salute every one of them that is making an effort to respond to our plight. I like the characterization because I understand diplomatic language. When it all started, it was called a crisis. A crisis is an internal disagreement, which the institutions of every country can solve their crisis. You don't intervene in such crisis. It will be called, they will talk about interference. So that's the way it was characterized. Crisis, the Anglophone crisis, that's what it was. Even the international diplomats and nations, when they try to refer to our problem, they called it a crisis. And I was watching. That when we engaged on self-defense and made it the principal driver of our diplomacy, they upgraded it from a crisis to a conflict. Now, when you talk about a conflict, you're already defining that there are two people who are involved, two separate people who are fighting. I liked that characterization. Then this other one, that the very respectable diplomat, American diplomat, sees it as it is, as an international problem. That makes me even more comfortable, because it is a confirmation of our position that we are a separate nation. We were a separate nation, and up to now we are. What happened in 1961 was an attempt to unite, which was unsuccessful, because the instruments that were prescribed by the United Nations to be enacted before the two can become one were never enacted. So it was a failed union, a failed attempt to unite, and then a failed de facto union. So when somebody now really should see, when people start seeing it the way it is, then we are going to solve the problem. Because good diagnosis will give me hope that we shall find a good cure. Because that means people are recognizing the root causes
That's right.
of our problem.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Now, most Amazonians in the time past, prior to the emergence of His Excellency, Mr. Siseko Ayoktabe, did not know him. But today, he is widely seen as the face of this revolution. He declared the independence of the Federal Republic of Amazonia. And today, even haters and people who do not believe in him today refer or accept to this declaration of independence by this great statesman. So he is widely seen as the Moses of our time. And you, Your Excellency, Dr. Sako, is considered or viewed as the Joshua. Truly, are you the Joshua? Will you take us to that promised land? Will you finish it across that line? Or is there something that we need to do to help you to push it forward so that we enter Boya?
I want to first of all use this opportunity to thank the Amazonian people for every sacrifice you have made and you are making to defend our leader and our leaders in jail. I want to say thank you. It is your effort, our effort, that have added this value to them. Because if we had neglected them, it would be such a foolishness that would have been done. But because we all stood up and we are standing up like one man and said, that is our leader. And we all are standing up and saying that that is our leadership. Now they cannot but recognize what we stand for. And I don't know if it needed such a tragedy for many to come to that realization. But whatever it is, the enemy meant it for evil. But I think it is working for our good. I just want to be very grateful that nothing happened to them. Yes. Now, I want to say that I would rather that they are released very soon, so that together we enter Boya triumphantly. But if by any means, for whatever reasons, they are not released, and it depends on our effort, we will not fail. If it will depend on whatever I can do, I will do it to the end. One thing I can assure them in jail, and assure all Amazonians, is that I will do everything as dictated by my conscience and the God I serve to carry through my promise to the end. I will not betray this cause. I said I will not betray it even for the whole world put together. I won't do it. But I will do my best. I will listen. I will depend on your knowledge, your expertise, and your advice. And make sure that at this very crucial moment, we make no mistakes. We really have to sail through to the end. There is no greater price than freedom. We have paid the price. We must have it.
You speak so intelligent. Your wisdom is amazing, Mr. President. You were once an activist. You were referred as Dr. Common Sense in that matter. Your wisdom and wonderful suggestions took us to somewhere. Is this the common sense we knew in those days? You made wonderful suggestions and even proposed the way forward. You were a fierce critic and a man that could not just back, but would bite. Today, you are the leader. You are the pilot. And you are taking us to somewhere. Are there some lessons you learned along the way? Is there a distinction between activism and leadership? Is there an advice for the activists today that think that whatever they say should be law?
Yeah. The difference between activism and leadership or governance is that the leader's hands are always tied. The activist's hands are free. By this, I don't say in a bad sense. Diplomatically, you must not act anyhow. In leadership, you are not rash, you are not quick. You know, as an activist, if you sleep in the night and have a dream and you have an idea, you just make your announcement, tomorrow I'll be live by 12 o'clock. You don't need to give too much thought to what you say or do. You can say it wrong today, tomorrow you say, okay, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. But people are not going to be patient with an erratic leader who makes a mistake every day, say, I'm sorry. Tomorrow say, I'm sorry. The next day I say, I'm sorry. They will frame him up like like somebody who doesn't know what he's doing. So you don't have that liberty in leadership or as a governor or as a liberator. You don't have, because your decisions have consequences. Your words have consequences. So everything is measured. I started as an activist, and I decided to remain an activist until His Excellency Sako fished me out from the corner and he said, hi, yeah, I would like you to serve in the government, and brought me in. My idea was that I took a position which I thought I would be able to contribute without bias, so that and without fear or without favor. Now I'm here where I am. I still want to keep some of those characteristics. I want to do for Ambazonia what I think is right, not necessarily what is convenient for some people. It might not be convenient, it might not even taste well to some. Remember, in leadership, you can't please everybody. But the philosophers say the general good for the greatest number, the greatest good for the greatest number is morally good. So in this particular sense, I will go for the greatest good for the greatest number, and that is Ambazonia. So, and I will make sure that I listen and take time. If I don't have the answer, I better wait until I have one. If I've consulted men and I don't still have the way, I will pray. Probably I will be inspired by money.
Thank you, Your Excellency. So, from your response, I can say without fear or favor that truly you are the doctor's common sense we knew of. But now, you have achieved within your short stay in this revolution so many things. You took over with almost an empty account, but you raised over $900,000 in my trip to Boya. You changed the revolution by accepting self-defense. And today, we do not only hear about a sporty presence of the self-defense forces, like it was with the Tigers, the DOD, Zokadef, and so on at that time. Today, we mostly hear of the ASC. They fuel the whole national territory. Today, we have just heard about some diplomatic gains that we have had. So, yes, I can state it here that you are a successful leader. With one word, am I right? True or false?
You know, when Martin Luther was alive, his job approval rate was 25%. So you can imagine. But today, if you say anything against Martin Luther, you are regarded as a demon. In fact, if you are you are running for a political office, you most likely will lose that election. But it wasn't so. So I say this to say that let posterity judge what we have done. I am very conscious about what posterity will say about what I do. I'm very, very conscious about what history will record. I mean, with accuracy. I don't care much about demagogy. It doesn't move me. I don't care about people who are just there to destroy, to castigate, and formulate lies and those things. I have developed a skin that I can jump over them. But I'm very, very conscious about the reality that will be in records of what will be said that I really did or I did not do towards the liberation of my people. That I'm very conscious of. And that's my principal driver. I don't want to measure myself or consider myself to be anything. I just have a job to do. I want to do it with the best of people around me. And I want to be judged after I am no more. I want to be judged correctly. I want it to be said that when it depended on me, I made the best decisions according to the information that was on my table. And I took the right direction, and that ended up bringing liberation to my people. That is my desire.
Thank you. Thank you. And to another topic, you seem to depend so much today on the contributions from Ambazonians. Do you think individual contributions can sustain this war? Do you think that there is something we can do in order to improve this? How long can we continue to sustain the war from the little contributions that we make? Is there any strategy that is on the table to lobby for some finances from somewhere? Any joker? I know you may not say it here, but in some way, what are you doing to make sure that this war is sustained? Because when some people think that you intelligently, some even say cunningly, transferred responsibility to the counties and LGAs when you could no longer finance it, or when the finances had dwindled. And now it's like any man try best for a place. So is that the case with the county by county approach that you have now implemented?
No. That is not the reason. We are a federation, and we should be prepared to be one, because we said we are the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. The local governments are the first tier of government, because it's government, federation is government to the people. So, and after that, we are strengthening the counties, and thereafter we shall strengthen the states. That's who we are. So that should not be interpreted as such. It is true that we have been working from day one. I'm a corporate finance consultant, so I know what it is to get money, to look for money in the marketplace. So we have been making real efforts in this domain. But you know, there are some things that will only work when reality changes. And let me tell you that anybody that wants to give us money will be doing so as an investment. I mean, real money, I mean institutional donors. We want to do so as an investment. And there's nobody that wants to invest his money for the long term dividends. They want to know, even if you say for the long term, they want to know how long. If you say for the short term, they want to still know how long. solve. And there are certain things, some collateralization might be a problem, because for you to collateralize as a leader, you must have some control of what you are collateralizing. So there's a lot of complications in that domain. We are making efforts. I think we are making some progress. But I want to say that for you to qualify for institutional donors, you first of all have to make the efforts that will take you to the place where you can answer certain questions in the affirmative. Can these little donations actually help us through this very serious war that is declared on us? I can say yes and no. Yes, because if we can find a way to mobilize our people in our numbers, okay, let's say conservatively, we're about 2 million in the diaspora. 10% of that number is 200,000. If we just have 200,000 people who are committed, who can donate $10 without struggle. Let me ask everybody listening to me. If you donate $10, how does that change your standard of living? Even students can give $10 a month in the diaspora. It will not change their lifestyle. It will not change their budget. It will not. That's what they drop in church as offerings. So if only 200,000, that's 10%, are mobilized to see the need to contribute, we shall be having about $2 million every month
$2 million
for this struggle. The question is, can $2 million a month help us in prosecuting this war without mortgaging our nation? The answer is yes. So our strategy should be, how do we get these numbers? How do we mobilize this number? How do we mobilize 10% of our people to see the need to give, to contribute towards the liberation of their only homeland? So that is what led us to embrace the idea of instituting the first tier of our government, which is the local government. We're looking for a way to increase that base, that number. Because when people are giving to the center, they were further away from the place of action. And sometimes you are now managing a lot, so you can understand. But those are things that if the central government was supposed to explain to everybody, some people will not understand. They won't even know what you are talking about. So they will be raising issues over nothing. And even what you are not free to tell the world now, so too the federal government was not free to tell the world about what we're doing. That in your position, being in charge of a smaller number and a smaller group, you know how you share that information and everybody is satisfied. So there's total transparency without endangering security. But when at the center, we discovered that if you want to be really, really transparent, you will endanger security and the eventual freedom of the people of Ambazonia. So one of this, the reason for this was actually to enlarge the base of participation and contributions towards the struggle, and at the same time, answer concerns about transparency, which cannot fully be addressed at the center in times of war. And I think that if we put our heads together and stop castigating every effort that is helping us to push this struggle forward, then we will be able to get many people involved in the struggle from the lowest rung. That means the local government level. And I think that, I don't know, you are from Momo. To be fair, you were around the environment where you know some things concerning the resistance on the ground. You can estimate from the last 2 months how much money the people of that community have contributed and effectively put on the ground for those efforts. You cannot compare it to when we were struggling to gather at the center and do some distribution here and there.
That's right.
That means the base of participation has enlarged, commitment has grown, and if we can grow that number, we will be able to do much until we get help. Let us come out of this mentality where we always waited for aid and loans and so on. Yes, we can. Some of the countries that have prosecuted their own liberation wars did not have as many people in the diaspora as Amazonia has. For us, it's a blessing. God took us out to various places because we're denied privileges back home, and now we're becoming a force. If we can just galvanize our energies, we may or may not need so much help from outside to liberate ourselves.
Yes, thank you very much, Your Excellency. Following up from your explanation and from some reaction from some boys on ground zero, especially our ground fighters, something that most of the contributions in our local government areas and the counties have been sent towards purchasing food and basic things inside their camps. And some have suggested that food and clothing or things around the camp is not their preoccupation because their local communities can sustain that. Don't you think that we can keep this, we can forget about sponsoring these basic issues or like food and go into buying tangible things that they need in order to pursue the war? Don't you think that if the other frontline movements that are reducing this population in the diaspora are being brought into a coalition government, then everybody will concentrate on one central government and all the finances will go into buying main materials and movement of this, or building an Amazonian military front that can actually resist the enemy and face them hands off than feeding these other people. While the counties can now concentrate on maybe basic food while we go into the tangible things.
Those are strategic decisions that are taken by the Defense Council in different places. The needs are not the same here and there, but they have their strategic plan that they are pursuing, and depending on the means, since it's the treasury that has been decentralized, I mean the ground zero efforts, the treasury that is targeting ground zero efforts has been decentralized, so to speak, in the hands of the local administrators. But the strategic plans are still in the hands of leadership. And I think that those are strategic decisions that you are talking about. They differ from place to place. There are some people that really, because of the havoc that has been meted on them, at the particular time, they need more of the health and social services. And there are some places where they need aid to their IDPs. And there are some places where they need to give all kinds of help. So I mean that those are strategic decisions that should be made by the county defense councils and the local government reps, so that they will be tailored to their immediate needs. I am saying that as far as the working together of leaders of nationalist groups is concerned, that is an organizational decision. Every organization has a leadership, has a vision, has taken positions, and we may have to work for a long time before we can agree. Two cannot work together except they agree. So there's a lot to be agreed on before we can really work together. And probably working together will be in different domains. There are some 30 domains that it's easy for us to work together because we see eye to eye. There are other domains that it will not be possible to work together. And so, first of all, I used to say that for us to work together, we must come to a place of mutual recognition. If you say you don't recognize me, for example, that I exist, so first of all, I'm a nullity. Therefore, how do you even agree with me? How do we even work together? If I say you don't exist, then I agree with who? If I refuse to recognize you, then how do we start? How can that be a starting point? But I think that there are also questions that need to be answered, and those questions are not meant to be answered in the public. That's why we have encouraged the Anglo-Saxon habit of talking to each other, even though in the public domain that may not be apparent. But we have kept the lines open so that we keep talking, and whenever we find an opportunity to come together, we should. Because what unites us is greater than what separates us. And I think that there is strength in unity. For everything we'll unite to do, I think we'll do better. And but on the other hand, I want to say, let Ambazonians know that the freedom of Ambazonia depends on you. It does not depend on the leader. The leaders are drivers. They don't determine the end. If you say we shall succeed, we shall succeed. If you say we shall stop this fight, we shall stop it. There's no leader who will start it if the people say no. So if we are still struggling, taking baby steps to unite, I want to provoke the people of Ambazonia to, for a moment, forget about us and unite more than ever before. If you are united, I think your strength will continually drag us until it will drag everybody into the mix. So we have to go forward.
Your Excellency, before I continue, may I take this opportunity to announce the All Mogamo Conference that will be coming up on the 27th of April 2018 in Duisburg, Germany. The Mogamo means the Batibu local government area. I also want to announce the ASSC of the interim government that will be coming the same Germany from the 11th to the 14th of April 2019 in Berlin. I also want to announce the ACON initiative that will be coming up soon. Not forgetting NAC 2019, NAC, the game changer. We'll be coming back to that. And Your Excellency, you spoke of some issues that have to be handled privately or behind the scenes and not openly. But I was talking with one of the leaders, not directly face to face, but in a small meeting, and it was said that it is good to hold our leaders in the public. It is good we start talking to them in the public so that those statements that they make behind the scenes and they don't respect them, they can start, Ambazonians can start holding them accountable. In this case, the leader of the AGC had this impression that some people don't want it to work. May you use this opportunity as a challenge, or not as a challenge, but an open invitation for dialogue, an open invitation for setting the pace to start working together. Secondly, there was this statement that if the agency makes a statement, or the leader of the agency makes a statement, or agrees with Dr. Sako of the interim government, he is able to take it to the agency and it will be passed. But if you take it to the interim government, it may not pass. And it was cited that Mr. Chris Ano may never endorse it, and it will end there. Are you in charge?
Yeah, thank you. That's a strange one. I laugh because this is the first time I heard that. Because there's no one person who runs the interim government like that. So that's very strange. Every other member of cabinet or the Restoration Council can really laugh at that. It is not anybody say Chris Ano who decides on what passes in cabinet and what doesn't. Cabinet makes decisions. Very intelligent people are involved. And when issues come on board, of course, if Chris doesn't agree with something, he will only make his opinion. And those who agree will make their opinion. And more often than not, we vote on the issue. And some of the issues Chris has articulated in public, he even may have voted no during the vote. But once the decision was made, it became the cabinet position, and he articulated it. So that's not going to happen with IG. There should be no hesitation in talking to the IG, because somehow I'm not in control. There is somebody who tells me what to agree on and what not to agree. I don't think I look like that. I look like some remote controlled individual. That's why I make initiatives, and when I believe them, I go for them. So there's no fear. Rather, I was thinking that it is the agency that my fellow comrade may not be in control, because more often than not, it has been explained to me that there is a body that makes the decision. So whatever we agree on is just tentative. But here is the difference with the interim government. Once the interim government has empowered me to do something, I only have to do it and bring the results. I don't have to do it. You are empowered once. They empowered me to bring the lead, find a way to work with the leaders. So when I'm contacting a leader, I don't come again and ask them again, should I contact the leaders? When we contact their leader, it is well defined what's the expectation of their mandate. So I come to them with full mandate. If we agree on it. That is why, even with the conference, we worked on it, we agreed. I only informed the cabinet that we have finally agreed, because it was what? Because it was a position, an assignment that was given or mandated since October last year. So I will not go there and I say I've agreed. Should I come and ask them again whether we should agree for that? That's exactly what I was mandated to do. So unity is, I am mandated by the IG to seek unity. So there's no way we can get it, and then I will go back and say, no, we didn't want it, we didn't mean it. No, that's not going to happen. But on the other side, I am also watching to see if we agree on anything, and it stands. My fear is that most of the time we have agreed on some things, and the next moment I see a publication on social media contrary to everything we agreed on. I don't know. Let somebody tell me anytime from my 12 months or 14 months in this, or 13 months in this office, anytime we have agreed on something with other organizations publicly, agreed with me, agreeing, and then I turn around, I say something changed. Let somebody give me just one instance. Then I can give instances of when I have agreed with other leaders. We agreed, or other leader, I don't want to say everybody. And I went home, I said, oh my God, it's okay. Then the next moment I see a publication, fresh publication on it, completely opposite to what, and sometimes I try to call again, the phones are not passing through. I've gone through that. So it is not our mannerism to do that.
So, Mr. President, don't you see that it is because of the secret negotiations behind the scenes, whereby Southern Cameroonians cannot hold such leaders accountable? Isn't it time to start speaking to us? Let's hear and know the steps that each of you is doing. Can you give him that challenge that I am calling you, Dr. Ayaba, Dr. Akwanga, and all of them for a meeting? Is it? are they even invited for this ASSC meeting in Germany? If that is not the case, can they be given that open invitation so that Southern Cameroonians would know where the problem is coming from?
No, we are not going to handle leadership matters on the public domain. If you do that, you will not go far. Because there are issues that underlie the bigger issues that you see that they cannot comfortably answer in public. So we have to find an environment where we can talk to ourselves. That's why I don't subscribe to the idea of open conferences again, because it's all for the optics. But sometimes real change does not take place. Real agreements don't happen. So we should rather do it behind the scenes. And I don't even like the idea of coming in public and saying those things, because sometimes when we say them, our advisors misunderstand them and they advise to the contrary. I used to just, sometimes an idea just comes up. The next morning or the next moment, you hear all kinds of reactions, all types of writings, and opinion leaders are just talking, hammering left, and they have not even taken time to ask questions, to seek some answers before making the analysis. They analyze out of very little that they know, and then they mislead. So avoid people, intruding and misleading others not to do the right things. It is better for us not to do it in public. So we'll continue to keep our lines open. We'll continue to talk. I hope that we shall get, Amazonians, the power is in your hands. You make the leaders, not the leaders make you. So you have ways of holding us accountable, and you should do so. But we are not also going to tell you everything, because around every leader, there are Amazonians. Let us begin from there. Hold our leaders, ourselves, our people accountable. Give them advice that will help Amazonia, not advice that will preserve their organization.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Now, we heard an audio of your endorsement of ACOM, the initiative brought forward by Dr. Fontaine. Now, amongst them is Morisk, the consortium, SOCADEF, and all other frontline movements except one. To my understanding, some of these frontline movements have been banned by your government. Is this, by implication, saying that you have uplifted the ban, or you have forgiven them, or that something had happened behind the scenes such that you are now having these conversations and pushing together as one?
No, it is a stretch to say that these organizations have been banned. We addressed a particular issue that happened on ground zero by some military wings on the ground. We demanded restitution and something to be done to right the wrong. Otherwise, this is the decision we took, and even the decision was conditional. When we exercise people power, is different from judicial or police power. With people power, is the people that are enforcing the law. That means if I take a decision, if I want to discipline you and I say I'm exercising people power, you know that the people can even refuse to enforce my discipline on you. If they judge and see that I am wrong, you are right. The only instance where the people can enforce my judgment on you is if the people also judge that you were wrong and I was right. So that's how the people power works. Just like some people can come and make a decision here and say they are taking a decision against Sako. It is people's power, right? So let the people judge that they are right, I am wrong. Otherwise, it is nonsense. But we are saying this because there was some truth in this. Something was wrong. Something was done wrongly. And we demanded that something should be righted. Apologies should be presented. We should not present this facade to the international community. No, not at this time. And we said it was by the people's power that that decision was taken. If the people have seen that there is a change in the attitude of those groups on the ground and what they do, even with or without our endorsement, my endorsement, they will completely uplift their attitude, their ban, or their withdrawal or disengagement with those organizations. What I would say is just symbolic. Whatever I would say is symbolic. So the political arms that are existing in the diaspora, they are not under any so-called ban. We don't have the powers to go to Europe or to America and ban organizations that were registered. No. So, and I think that the political arms are drivers. It is very correct. It is very good that even when you disagree, you don't cut off your relationships, so that if the rights are righted, if the wrongs are righted, we continue the train. And that's why this is a political action we are taking, coming together. It is not a self-defense military action. We are saying that we can agree on political issues. And if we do, I think a lot of other things will fall in line. That is what I think.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. The people of Amazonia wish that you should shift behind so that they can enjoy your beautiful outfit. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now, we have this issue that has been bothering a lot of people. The issue of my trip to Boya.
Yes.
And many think that this money was used judiciously, while some think that it was used to build a political system rather than building capacity on the ground. Many see that there is the emergence of many groups on ground zero, and all local government areas now have self-defense groups, unlike was the case before my trip to Boya. However, it is now looked as if this money is finished, but you achieved one thing, building a political system, and which now operates like a government and an opposition. The interim government being the people's government, and the AGC now looking like a political party or an opposition party. Is that the case?
Yeah, I disagree with the characterization. Before I came on board, a lot of money had been contributed towards self-defense. A lot of it, especially when they started killing, and the people we became very emotional. We must do something. A lot of it has been contributed, and a lot of private initiatives. In fact, all the groups were receiving lots of donations coming, because people were looking for who can save us from this terrible tragedy. Who can save? Who has what it takes to save us? Money was flying left and right. So we were not the only ones. I remember a lot of websites rose up, a lot of GoFundMe, they rose up. Our only just conspicuous because we are the interim government. But a lot of money went here and there. Now, because we immediately, with nothing, with little or nothing, we decided to build a robust army that will cover the whole territory, because by then, when I came on board in February, self-defense was principally a manual affair. Just a little spread, a little outside manual. So I came on board and we decided to spread our wings to cover the whole territory in record time. The responsibility was huge. If you put a cup of tomato in a swimming pool, you might not know that tomato is red. It will be like you did nothing. If we were just having some 500 men that we will put together, we say, okay, these are the people who want to call the army of Amazonia. We are going to arm them to the teeth and let them be our defense. There will be no army in the world that would have been more qualified or more equipped than us with what we're able to do. But the need was everywhere. People's houses were burnt. Hundreds were being burnt. People were being displaced. Motorbikes being burnt. People were displaced to the forest. People joined the resistance like in troops. And immediately the cries were coming from all over the place. We need help. We need this. We need this. We need this. We even need this and that. Some of those kind of things that they need, you know them. We need our camps. We need our food. We need all these type of things. We need baptism. We need all this. A lot of things. And that was from all over. And at the same time, we need to put some money in to make sure that we don't neglect our leaders who were still struggling by all means. Opening a case in Yaoundé, another one in Nigeria, to make sure that we know where they are. Imagine we just have one treasury. But we did a lot, which is not the best. It is more difficult to lay a foundation than to build the walls. We laid that foundation. We're able to spread that foundation wide and thin all over the territory, just with the little we have. If you give that assignment to La Republique to raise about 10 to 20,000 people within a short space of time, they will give you a budget that might be in billions. You go and find out what they have spent to do a similar job. And we're talking of a few hundreds of thousand, and we have done this. So it is not altogether the best, but we kept our promise that the little we have, with the strategies we have and the people we have, we shall change the game on the ground. We change it. For somebody to say we use it to build a political apparatus, no. Of course, if you call the government to be a political apparatus, yes. If you call it to be, if somebody says that is just some strategy to maintain ourselves and our position, no. It means that probably we're looking for people around to bribe. No. And one thing I want us to also know is that in the beginning, every beginning is full of flaws. Every beginning, because for us to function in this space, we needed to work through people, through intermediaries, through people who have projected themselves to be contractors and people who we could entrust with the responsibility to defend our nation. We are bringing them together, helping them, giving them resources. There's no other way we would have done it. I'm trying to rewind the clock and ask myself, how else would I have done it? You are Sikod. You control a particular area. And I want to defend the people of that place. I don't have the people there. I must trust you by giving you what I have to do what you have to do. What if you take it and you decide at that point what exactly you do and what you don't do? What power do I have? So that is what it was in the beginning. But now we started there. Here, look at where we are now. We have an army that we proudly call Restoration Forces. How did that emerge? It's from that foundation that we laid, and now we can deal directly with them. It was not so. We never started at that point. We started by intermediaries to intermediaries to intermediaries. That's how it was. So a lot of things fell on the way. So a lot of things may not have been done correctly or appropriately or in the in the extent that was supposed to be done. But now a lot has changed. You are not dealing with intermediaries. You are even the government now, which is now decentralized, is not dealing with intermediaries. It's dealing directly. So are we going to kill ourselves with any flaws and any shortcomings that we had from that foundation of creating an Amazonian army? It was from individual initiatives. It was not easy, but where we are right now, it is only going to be better. I cannot promise you. If people are not seeing it, yes, it is. From Fako to Menchum, it is only going to be better with our forces, and we are going to continue to now equip them and continue to equip them with the little we have, with a focus, and we will fight till we are free.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, dear Amazonians, if you listen critically to the President, you will discover a lot of insight of what happens. One of the questions that is asked, he takes the opportunity to explain a wide variety of issues and things that concern your government. And I am happy he takes this time, and he takes his time to explain the issues so that you get clarity of the things that are happening. So some of these questions that I ask, ladies and gentlemen, are not conclusions, but a way of asking him to explain further so that those who have the doubts can be clear. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, first, we have understood from your words and your explanations. And if I can summarize, I understand that the interim government has not squandered the $100,000 and above raised for my trip to Boya. There are a lot of things you have achieved, and self-defense is now spread all over. You have done a lot of things inside the government that cannot be said in the open. Every government has its secrets. That is true. But now, we have some initiatives that are coming up. For example, the National AK project, termed NAC 19. It is initiatives by people that are Amazonians. And am I right to say every good thing in Amazonia is ours? Can you give your endorsement that we arm these boys so that they finish the work?
I don't know if my endorsement will be a plus or a minus. Because I say this to say that I have not even endorsed it. I don't even know who is in charge, who are in charge of it, in fact, in terms of the management. But everywhere on social media, it is said that this is my campaign. So I don't know what difference that would make. But let me say this, that our struggle, if there's anything I have done which I will be remembered for, it is that I changed our movement from an organization-centered struggle to a community-centered struggle. I changed the organization of our movement from an organizational-centered struggle to a community-centered struggle. So I gave it to the people. So the people are in charge. And so organizations may find a new role to play, but they will not take the charge from the people. So some of the criticism I may have and suffer till probably we get to Boya is that every organization has its own interest group. So I want to say that they may not be satisfied with that. They may not be happy with that scenario. Okay? They may not be happy with that scenario that somebody is taking over what they used to do, but now the people have been organized to take it over from them. But the greatest good to the greatest number is morally good. So my idea is that these people who are organizing the NAC campaign, I have not asked enough questions concerning the management thereof. But my fear is that it should not be managed by any other people than the people's representative. If the people's representative are the one managing it, it means it is still, the mantra is still power to the people. Because if another organization takes it away from people, then be the one to decide for the people. It will not be good in the present dispensation, because people, if organizations have failed, let the people do it by themselves. So let us leave it in their hands to do. I would say, we started by saying, if you want to get a NAC or whatever, give it to your county. But if you are giving it to any other group, let it be a channel to your county. I will agree on that, and I will endorse it, especially if my endorsement will not be a minus, it will be a plus.
Yes, thank you very much, Your Excellency. Every Ambazonian leader should be more preoccupied, according to me, in making visions that are brought forward by Ambazonians to come to completion. If you're a father, I believe you should be able to endorse the wife your son brings home. And in the case of NAB, few Ambazonians, for example, Mark Barata, came forward with this idea and sold it to the public. We have had people from the agency and from the interim government fighting it tooth and nail. But simply, what is NAB? It is the Ambazonian People's Project, whereby representatives from the 13 counties are brought together, 13 of them. And we also brought about 8 activists, including prominent people like Eric Pato and Joshua Carr. So my humble self happened to be the spokesman of NAB. What is our intention? We want to empower the boys on ground zero. And so we have a slogan that if that issue, if something is Ambazonian and you're fighting against it, then we don't need to doubt where your loyalty is. So I don't want to belabor this point because we have many other discussions and we are running out of time, Your Excellency. I want to go into some, before I go into some other issues, I just wish that you take some time to explain more about this project you have that is coming forward very recently, very soon, the ASSC from the 11th to the 14th of April.
Yes, this is the Ambazonia Stakeholders Strategic Conference. We had planned it and kept postponing it from November to February, then to April. We had some reasons to move it from one day to the other, but this time around is confirmed. The conveners of this conference are the interim government and its arms. And those that are principally invited are the country coordinators and their regional coordinators and their assistants, and then the local government administrators or their representatives worldwide. So we are expecting delegates, about close to 100 delegates. We are also inviting, and it's by invitation, we are also inviting other stakeholders of accredited organizations that will receive official invitations from us. This include activists, include civil society organizations that are working and laboring to help our people in one way or the other. They were clearly identified and invited. They have been invited. We hope that they'll be able to make it. We are also using this opportunity to invite those that reside close to the event venue, like in Germany, like in Central Europe, and some who can make it even from the Americas, who are certain Cameroonians who have ideas, who want to make important recommendations to us. I want to be there in person. There will be a general event and there will be a gala event where we are going to receive all these ideas and listen to our people, and then we'll be able to roll out our plan. We are going to roll out our green, our blueprint, our roadmap. We are going to take time to examine, to do a review of our activities at the year past, and take into consideration all contributions and make important recommendations to the interim government as stakeholders of our revolution. And I believe that it will be also a time that we want to raise money targeted for ground zero. And it will be a global fundraiser. When we will be doing it live in Germany, it will be live in the whole world. We want to make sure that after that gathering, which people are making sacrifices to gather, ground zero must feel the impact. So we will have a fundraiser night where we hope that we're going to do a lot. And that money immediately will be targeted for ground zero. And we hope that significant changes will occur because of Berlin, Germany. That is my promise.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. What is the difference between these Ambazonian Stakeholder Strategic Conference and the ACON initiative? What are conferences really? What are the importance of these conferences? There have been many over the past year. So what are the strategic reasons why we have many of these conferences?
Oh, when you see people trying to gather, it means they want to speak. They want to express themselves. They want to strategize, good or bad. That's what it means. They are struggling to find a way to express themselves and to strategize, and to pool their resources together. All Southern Cameroon People's Conference, that's the right name, ASCPC in Washington, that is slated for the 29th to the 30th of March. That will be happening probably about close to 11 days before the launch of the ASSC in Germany. That one was the purpose of that falls within the objectives of ACON, but it is not organized by ACON. It falls within the objectives of ACON. ACON completely subscribed to the conference because of these objectives, because they were in line with what ACON had been working on. The committee, the steering committee that had been working since November, discovered that the objectives of that conference can be adjusted to achieve the initial objectives of ACON. So they wholly endorsed it and said we should go for it. The purpose of that conference is actually to encourage unity towards a possible negotiated settlement of our problem. I'm not saying that there are already people are calling us for negotiation now, but we know that it is likely that we have a negotiated settlement of our problem. Negotiation does not mean compromise always. It actually means that it will come to a point, it might come soon or later, that the guns stop sounding, and we go to the table to solve this problem without fighting. because first of all, this problem will not have to go to the war to reclaim what belongs to us. So we are positioning ourselves in that conference for that eventuality. So it involves all those who will be significant when the day comes, and so that we can chart our way and a position. But the conference in Germany, the ASSC, is to generate the kind of synergy amongst Amazonians, their affiliations notwithstanding, because they are involved at country level, they are involved at their local government level in any case. Therefore, that they should see how we can lay that as the foundation for sustainability of our struggle. We want to cement that foundation, because no matter how much we leaders talk together, if the people are not united behind our cause, we will become obsolete.
Okay, Your Excellency, did you said something about this same conference and about negotiation? Why are leaders so concentrated on negotiation, or why are they showing a lot of interest to be on the negotiation table rather than interest on ground zero that can change the game more? Why are they so interested in it than diplomacy, where they should be more involved in diplomacy and ground zero now than who should sit on the table?
Well, part of diplomacy shall be negotiations. In fact, it's diplomacy that will lead us to negotiations. And we also know that no one leader has backed off as far as ground zero efforts are concerned. We believe that this struggle, or even our diplomacy, shall be driven by our self-defense effort. If we fail as in our self-defense effort, diplomacy will fail. In fact, even the attention we are having now will dwindle and disappear. So nobody is trying to say, let's surrender and let's just talk about the eventual. We know that because we are doing what we have to do and we are struggling to do it better, if we fully defend ourselves, the logical end of that gain is that the table will become inevitable. But if the table will become inevitable, it should not be by surprise, because we have to be able to talk to ourselves, be talking to ourselves for that eventuality. And if there is no suggestion that the table is already by the corner, but we understand the language that if things are shifting the way they are shifting, now you hear the international community saying the United Nations Security Council, it was like a queue. Everybody say dialogue without precondition, dialogue without precondition. Today, the powers that be are saying the same thing. Dialogue now. This killing must stop. You think that if this pressure continues this way, what will be the end of that? The end of that will be another solution that will not be the arms. Therefore, we are just saying it is better to prepare to do something than for you not to prepare, because failure to prepare is preparation to fail.
Thank you, Your Excellency. We have 10 minutes to go to the end of this broadcast. And we still have a number of issues which we handle as fast as possible. Your Excellency, there have been many crises. In as much as you have been very, very, very effective, or you have been successful, there are a lot of issues that some people think you have not been very effective in. For example, there have been the issue of the Batibo crisis, that you have not been a very good manager in crisis management. You had the issue of the SCBC that gave way to the ABC, the issue of activists fighting one another, surrogates growing every day. And so, what do you think? Is there something that you're doing so much behind the scenes that people are not seeing? Or these issues are just so much? And about all these other issues that you have blamed, you sometimes regret that you should have handled some of those issues differently.
Let me start with the last one. Fighting, or as it is today, is basically on social media. What I would have done to stop that, very difficult to tell. I don't know who could have done it any different. I've done something to stop that. Many people, this revolution is not to be compared with any other revolution that existed before this era, because it is like a media-driven revolution. This is the only revolution that you will hold a meeting. Before the meeting ends, everybody knows what we decided. It was never like that in any other revolution. This is a revolution that if we have 10,000 people listening to me now, it means we have 10,000 television stations and 10,000 broadcasters. So 100 will take anything out of context, what I say, and go and blast it the way they think. And you cannot stop the 100 people. I may not even know them until I go to my grave. So this is the kind of environment we are prosecuting this struggle. So for your information, the fighting will continue. The infighting will continue. There are some people who hate me. What will I do so that they love me? They will hate me if they will never concern about the issues. They will concern about my person. What do you do to stop that? They will always be there. The only advice is not to those who are causing division, but to those who are on the receiving side, who are the consumers of all this division. You have to be wiser. You have to know when somebody is acting intelligently. You have to know when somebody is acting emotionally, or because his mind is corrupted, or because he is depraved, he's wicked, he's doing it out of hatred or bitterness. You have to know when somebody is acting like that, and you have to know when somebody is genuinely acting for his love of his country. So they will always be there. So many surrogates, so many, even some of them may have been paid by La Republique. So what can you do to stop that? Some of them, their platform is built on hate speech. If they stop dishing out hate speech, they will lose their followers. So what do? They have to continue to do that. I want to talk about the SCBC. SCBC, some people said I did not manage it well. I don't like to go into graves and dig out the fossils. But I want to say that if I have to do it again, if the facts remain the facts that I know on the table concerning SCBC, I will take the same decision. Unless the facts have changed. I took the decisions. We managed the matter, not me, but the IG managed it based on the facts that were present on the table. If those facts have not changed, then I want to tell you now that I don't regret for the decision.
You have less than 3 minutes.
I will do so.
You have 3 minutes to go. I want that you would round up this discussion. We still have issues to talk, but
compatible people, I don't know, you raised an important issue. That's a constituency of mine. So I want to be sure that I did probably I thought I could do. I did what I thought I was able to do at that time. First of all, if there's anything I'm supposed to have done that I did not do, first of all, I apologize. So, but I would rather want to have an informative session with the people of Batibo for me to know exactly how we managed the crisis and what was expected of us and where we did not do it right. I will take the responsibility.
Yes, Your Excellency, some of the issues that we were left to discuss were the fact that many Amazonians think that you cannot fight a full-time, you cannot be a part-time prayer warrior and fight a full-time demon. What do we mean? That you cannot be a worker and you go to your job for 7 hours or 12 hours a day and you want to lead a revolution. Therefore, some positions like the interim president, the defense and diplomacy should at least be paid so that they can drop from their full-time jobs and concentrate and do things that will take us quicker into Boya. Some other issues we were trying to examine is what you can do to support SCAF that want to bring sanity to the media space of Amazonia in order to curb this surrogacy. And we wanted to take the advantage to ask you to call for a ceasefire amongst those that stand to defend you. We also wanted to know how far you are managing the crisis within the IG, the separatist group or the group that just finished a conference in the US, and the other group that thinks that you should leave the helm of the IG. And we were also to address the issue of the way forward to this revolution to make it really amazing, or for us to reach Boya. Not to talk of the question about if you are having a cabinet reshufflement. So, because what we see is that you have many more of the people that do not want you inside the government that you lead. So the last statements would all be yours. Thank you.
Yes, for the people of the activists coming together, I give you my endorsement. It is a great initiative because individually you are doing a great job, and together, at least you place checks and balances on yourselves. I think you'll be a more disciplined group of people that will help to sanitize the media space. So you have my endorsement. And I've always been there whenever you invited me. And I will be there again if you do invite me. For those disagreements within the House, we shall be able to handle them. But I want to say that we can disagree without being disagreeable. Sometimes I have a cool head. I can listen to you, even if you were insulting me. The only thing is that I have a choice at the end of those insults, what to do with whatever you have told me. But I want to advise my people that in this revolution, it's issues that brought us together, not personalities. So if we don't separate issues from persons, we are going to make mistakes. We are going to tear this thing down and think that you are tearing somebody down. My encouragement to all those who may disagree in one thing or the other, let them first of all think if there's anything they agree about what we have done. Before I tear down the other person in the House, let me also think if there's anything the person has done that is good. If we think about the things that are good in the other person, we'll be really willing to do what we have to do to close the gaps. I will do so. It is not a matter of weakness, it's a matter of character. I will continue to do so even to those who think that I should not be here, probably because they have somebody better. But it is all about Amazonia. So we are going forward from Germany, Berlin, Germany. A roadmap shall be a blueprint shall be rolled out, and I'll be telling you more as to what will happen in the government. Well, I will rather cross my fingers and tell every Ambazonian to know that I will take every decision that is necessary to make our movement better, only better, not to destroy it.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you, dear viewers. Thank you, Ambazonians, for watching. We are grateful to have heard the interim president and all his brilliant points here. We have just one interim government, and it is our duty to promote it. It is our duty to correct them when they do wrong, and above all, protect this government, because we need this government if we have to sit down one day and negotiate our way out into Boya. My dear compatriots, please fund your counties, fund your interim government, fund every initiative that fosters unity and fosters this revolution. and takes it to the end. I am happy today to hear that diplomacy is gaining ground and that our leaders inside the interim government have actually sat down with world powers, including world leaders like president, to pave a way forward to this revolution. I want to assure you all, it is a victory that we must achieve. Failure is not acceptable. And this president had assured you that he is certain we are going into the promised land. God bless you all as you continue to watch ABC TV and as you continue to fund the revolution. Thank you, Your Excellency, for such a privilege. Thank you, ABC, and God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Gabby.
I can hear you. No, Sikod is gone. He was in a rush, probably going to a meeting. Yeah. That's it. Moderation is not easy. A professional job, you know.
Sikod is already gone. I wanted to talk to him.
He's gone.